I switched from marijuana to drinking. Because, I mean,
drinking was legal up there.
Yeah.
And it's cheap.
Yes. Yes. And it's cheap. Exactly. And so I started drinking as a way to like replace the marijuana to handle anxiety. And so I started drinking more. And the more I drank, the less the less ability I had to actually to continue to work in any sort of fashion. And so I don't know. I just wasn't in my right type of thinking. It was like the anxiety and then drinking, and then the drinking made the anxiety worse. And then the anxiety made me want to drink more. And so it just was sort of this, it was a circular pattern of just continuing to get worse and worse from a mental standpoint. And so by that time, it was all about just trying to get another drink and, not really, and then feeling a lot of shame from leaving past jobs and, and just being really desperate. So I had an altercation with the police when I, basically, and ended up going to jail for a little bit. Basically, the altercation with the police plucked me out of everything and then put me in a controlled, in a situation to where I couldn't harm anything anymore. And
you were in a 23-hour lockdown, right?
Yeah, I think that God intervened on my behalf completely. And I know this because I wasn't, I felt safe. Basically what happened was I was still dealing with a lot of shame and guilt and stuff like that. And I had a lot of time. And what happened was I was given an opportunity to really dwell and really process, the last few months of what was happening and stuff like that. Like, why, Lord? And what happened is I would beat myself up so hardcore all the time, just to push myself. It was a way of it was like motivation for me in a way, like, you suck, like you need to do better, and so I'd always be like, okay, like I could always do better I could always do better. And I'm always going to advance myself, by beating myself up and then building myself back up with my actions. Right. And with what I'm doing and stuff like that. And so, but at that point I was just,
probably a lot of people function that way, even if they don't deal with addiction or don't deal with anxiety. There's self-abuse in order to perform, kind of a thing. It feels like a form of slavery, like you're whipping yourself in order to produce.
Yes. At that point I was like asking God, like, what do I do? And so he said that I had to basically give myself some grace. I had to like kind of give it to him. I had to give all the shame and anxiety and the guilt. I had to kind of just say, okay, like, Lord, like I'm going to give it to you. I forgive. But it was like this voice, like I was like distraught, and I was like, I had like I said, like months, I had no idea how to continue to live my life constructively. I was like, for months I was just like, what do I do? Do I do this? Do I do this? And so I was like, God, what do I do? Like, how can I was really at that point, just begging God, like desperate. And then he said, I remember this, it was like this objective voice, it was just an answer to that question. It was like, I was thinking it, but I would never have thought that. It was just this like novel. It was like, it wasn't my voice, but it was like my thought. So it was like, it was an answer to that question, and it was so audacious, right? Like I was just like, that doesn't make any sense, like that sounds kind of crazy. It was just this immense amount of grace that was like that I needed to realize that basically, I needed to sort of let go of some emotional baggage so I can be healthy again. So I can sort of function again. And once I said, okay, all right, I'm gonna try this, you know, like I'll see what happens, you know, like, okay, like, you know, I'm gonna try this right after you know, God had said to me, you know, do this. And so I said, okay, like I forgive myself. And it was just so incredible. I've just literally after I said that, after the words left my mouth, this power of the Spirit just hit me in Jackson, in this jail cell, you know, just totally distraught, you know, not feeling totally desperate, feeling like I had been a failure, just beating myself up so hardcore, you know, just emotionally shamed and guilty, and just feeling guilty and feeling horrible and feeling, you know, not finally feeling like I'm, you know, like in a spot where I can at least sort of process things. But once I said those words, like once I actually listened to God and did what he said, it was like he totally took care of my whole situation from there. Long story short, I felt like I was baptized spiritually, and I felt like I went from black to white, you know, or from really dirty to very just crystalline clear, you know. And like, you know, it's kind of like it's in the past, you know, so like I let go of all of the shame that I had at that point. So I went from, it was like, okay, like you're starting anew, you know, like you're now this, you are like, I now have you, you have, you know, you have interacted, I have interacted with you, like, on a spiritual level. Like I'm like, God said, okay, like you have shown me, like you have talked to me, you've shown me faith. And so I'm going to do what needs to be done with you, you know, and you're white as snow now, basically.